Good afternoon and welcome to the FEMA Region 2 Individual and Community Preparedness webinar series. My name is Allison Albright and I'm the Regional Preparedness Liaison for FEMA Region 2. I'm going to provide a few technical considerations before we begin. Today's proceedings are being recorded and captioned. The archived event will be available on the FEMA website in the coming weeks. You should hear audio through your computer speakers, so please ensure that your speaker icon is green and your volume is turned up so you may hear the proceedings accordingly. In the top right, we ask if you'd like to receive news and updates from Region 2. If so, please enter your email address and we'll be sure to add you to the distribution list. We will have a question and answer session after the presentation concludes. You'll see a Q&A pod in the lower right-hand corner. Please feel free to submit your questions about the subject matter there, and time permitting, we'll do our best to answer them. Finally, the PowerPoint presentation from today will be available for you to download in the file share pod as a PDF. You can click on the file and download it using the download button. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the Region 2 Preparedness Specialist to introduce our speaker and today's proceedings.
Scammers are doubling down on their efforts to steal money and personal information by falsely offering the COVID-19 vaccine. No matter what anyone tells you, you can't buy COVID-19 vaccines online, and there are no out-of-pocket costs to receive the vaccine. Hi everyone, my name is Phoebe Patel, a preparedness specialist with FEMA Region 2's Individual and Community Preparedness Program. We're focused on preparing people for disasters by providing useful information and training, inspiring you to act ready and be ready for any emergency. On behalf of our team working to strengthen preparedness across New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, and the USVI, I'd like to welcome you to our webinar series. In today's webinar, the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, will present information on how to recognize and avoid scams related to the COVID-19 vaccine. Our speaker today is Robin Eichen, who has been an attorney with the Federal Trade Commission's Northeast region since December 1990, where she has litigated numerous consumer protection cases, including those involving deceptive advertising, work-at-home scams, business coaching scams, telemarketing fraud, internet fraud, and deceptive debt collection. In September 2003, Robin received a Director's Award in recognition of her contributions to the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. Thank you for joining us today, Robin, and I'll pass the mic over to you.
Thank you so much. I thank my colleagues at FEMA, including you, for inviting me to speak with everyone today. My remarks are my own and not those of the Federal Trade Commission or any commissioner. Can anybody mute their phones because I'm getting some feedback? I've been, again, at the Federal Trade Commission where I've been doing consumer protection work. I'm really proud of the work that we do to help consumers. And how do we help consumers? Three main ways. One, we sue companies and individuals that defraud consumers and ask the court to stop the illegal activity immediately. The second way is we talk to groups like you and produce materials, including interactive materials and videos, to help people avoid fraud and identity theft and to recover if it happens. And the third way is we take your fraud reports on our Consumer Sentinel database, and that database is shared with other law enforcers across the country, thousands of them, and also we use the reports of fraud to bring new lawsuits and to develop new materials. So for consumers who've been scammed, this is our best advice. First, contact the payment provider. Now, if you've paid by credit card, debit card, or on a bank account, you should ask that provider to return your money because you've been scammed. There are legal protections when you pay that way, but you have to act really quickly. Now, if you wired money, say through Western Union or MoneyGram, you should also let them know as soon as possible. The FTC has sued both of those companies, and they may be on notice that their payment method can be used as a fraud. Now, if you put the money paid to the scammers on a gift card or a prepaid card like iTunes, Google, Amazon, or Green Dot, you should contact the gift card company right away. While there's no guarantee you'll get your money back, you should try to alert the payment system and then report the fraud to law enforcers. Now, the FTC's new link to report fraud is called reportfraud.ftc.gov. It's easier to use, and it will send the user useful information on next steps. So there's been so much confusion these days about the vaccine. That's because news seems to change day by day and differ state by state. Well, scammers have been cashing in on all this confusion. But the three things to remember is, one, you can't pay for early access or to get on a list to receive the vaccine. And no one except the scammer is going to call, text, or email you and ask you for your Social Security number, bank account, or credit card number. And three, in order to get a vaccine, contact your state or local health department, your doctor, or even your pharmacy. And you're not required to give your Social Security number or your immigration status at a vaccine site. Know that vaccines are free, despite the fact that advertisers online and social media and phone are trying to get you to pay for a vaccine or to schedule a vaccine. You never have to pay out of pocket for a legitimate vaccine, and no legitimate source will sell or claim to ship you vaccines. Now, know that COVID-19 vaccine providers can't charge you for the vaccine. They can't charge you directly for administrative fees, co-pays, or coinsurance. They can't deny vaccination to someone who doesn't have health insurance or is underinsured or is out of network. And they can't charge for an office visit or other fee to the recipient if the only service offered is COVID-19 vaccination. And last, they can't require you to have additional services in order to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. You should check with state or local health departments, as I said before, to learn when and how to get the COVID-19 vaccine. So, vaccine survey scams. We've seen a lot of them. As you can see on the pictures on this slide, there are lots of scam vaccine surveys seeking personal information and money from you. Here, as you can see, the imposters claim to be from Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and other vaccine manufacturers. I personally have seen many such emails in my personal account. But what I did was identify these emails as phishing to my carrier. Now, if you get an email or text you're not sure about, don't click on any links or open attachments. Why? Because doing so could install malware. That's harmful software that steals your personal information without you realizing it. And don't call the number in this email or text. If you want to call the company that supposedly sent the message, Instead, look up its phone number online. So, fake vaccination cards are on sale. That's because the list of venues, establishments, and government entities that currently or soon will require vaccination proof is growing. But so is vaccine card fraud. The fake cards can be bought for cheap on the dark web and sometimes on public online shopping sites or on social media. Fake cards are easy to get, and lots of people are getting them. But vaccination record cards are intended to provide recipients of COVID-19 vaccines with information about the type of vaccine they received and when they're supposed to get a second dose of the vaccine. So if you didn't receive the vaccine, don't buy fake vaccination cards. Don't make your own cards. And don't fill in the blank on vaccination record cards using false information. The FBI warns that buying and selling fake vaccination cards violates federal law. So in this lawsuit, the FTC sued a company that claimed that their vitamin D and zinc supplements offered equal or better protection from COVID-19 than vaccines. This is the first lawsuit the FTC brought under its new civil penalty authority that was designed to fight false advertising claims relating to the coronavirus pandemic. So it's a violation of the new law to deceive consumers about the treatment, cure, prevention, mitigation, or diagnosis of COVID-19 or a government benefit related to COVID-19. So again, now a violation of the new law can result in financial penalties. So if you see claims about supplements that allegedly can prevent or treat the coronavirus, ignore them. The FTC's complaint notes that the defendants here did not have scientific evidence to back up their treatment or prevention claims, much less the claims that their products were as good as or superior to COVID-19 approved vaccines. And in addition to penalties, the government is seeking to bar these defendants from making any more unsubstantiated claims about their benefits for fighting COVID-19. So know that posting your vaccine card on social media can contribute or lead to identity theft. Your vaccine card is precious. Protect it. It has your personal information. If a thief also gets your Social Security number, that thief can use information from your vaccination card to commit identity theft and perhaps steal your money. Identity theft. This slide shows some ways that it happens. But I bet you all know about identity theft. What you may not know is that the COVID-19 pandemic has brought a much higher risk of identity theft. In 2020, the FTC got about 1.4 million reports of identity theft, which is double the number from 2019. Repeatedly, identity thieves targeted government funds that were earmarked to help people that were hit hard financially by the pandemic. That includes stimulus payments and unemployment insurance payments. The FTC has information on how to report identity theft and how to recover if it happens. So in case identity theft ever happens, we created an easier way to report the problem and get help. IdentityTheft.gov is where you can report identity theft and get a recovery plan. In fact, in most situations, your report to identity theft takes the place of a police report, and that can save you time and work. IdentityTheft.gov will help you get a free extended fraud alert or credit report to your credit report. And you could get a free credit freeze. These make it much more difficult for an identity thief to open new accounts in your name. You should review your credit reports often. Through April 20th, 2022, you can check your credit reports every week for free through annualcreditreport.com. That's annualcreditreport.com. This can help you spot any new fraud quickly. And if you create an account, you'll get reminders. You can update and track your progress, and we'll pre-fill forms and letters for you. The site's also available in Spanish. And by following a few short steps on reportfraud.ftc.gov, your report is instantly available to more than 3,000 federal, state, and local law enforcers across the country. And after you tell us what happened, you'll get advice from reportfraud.ftc.gov on what you can do next to recover and protect yourself against fraud. The FTC also has resources on hundreds of scams, both in print and online. Consumer.ftc.gov has our biggest collection of articles on scams. Consumer.gov has just what you need to know on managing money, credit, and debt, and avoiding scams and identity theft. It also has videos and audio track, presentations, and lesson plans. FTC.gov has the most recent data on complaints, scams, and links to other resources relating to the coronavirus. And Pass It On gives active older adults the tools to talk about the scams they see. YouTube.com FTC Videos has our whole video collection. Grab them and share them as much as you want. Our bulk order site allows you to order as many print materials as you need, printed and shipped for free. All of our materials for consumers are available in English and Spanish, and all our web pages have a button to take you to the Spanish version. So we can all help each other by sharing good, trustworthy resources. I hope you'll share these in your communities. You can keep up to date with the latest scams by signing up for the FTC's consumer alerts. Visit ftc.gov/subscribe. That's ftc.gov/subscribe. And your reports matter to the FTC, to all law enforcers that have access to the system, and the people in your community you help every time you report a scam. And here are 3 key resources to share. To know the latest about the pandemic, go to coronavirus.gov, which takes you straight to the CDC. To learn more about scams and how to avoid them, go to the federal government site, which is usa.gov/coronavirus, and for the FTC site on data and scams, go to ftc.gov/coronavirus. So again, for the latest on the pandemic, coronavirus.gov takes you straight to the CDC. To learn more about scams and how to avoid them, visit ftc.gov/coronavirus. And to find out what else is going on across the federal government and lots of resources from other agencies, go to usa.gov/coronavirus. Thank you so much for your time today. I'll be available for questions.
Thanks, Robin. We can start with the first question. Has anyone been sued for issuing false vaccination cards?
I'm not aware of any FTC lawsuits about that, but because the FBI has issued an advisory, the FBI may be going after these type of scams criminally. So if you check with the FBI's website, you could probably find that out.
Okay, thank you. The next question asked if a number labeled New Jersey vaccine appointment is a scam. The number is 855-568-0545, and that is the number to the state of New Jersey's vaccine call center. But Robin, do you have any recommendations on how someone can check whether a number is a scam or not a scam?
The best way is to look up the number yourself on the legitimate website, but not to call any number that you're given in an email to you unsolicited, any unsolicited email or text. That number, if you call that number, it may be a scam. So again, look up the number yourself and a number you know.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other questions come in. Robin, do you have any last comments for the audience?
Last comments is
that
I highly recommend that you go to the FTC's website and review all the great materials we have for consumers, and that you subscribe to our alerts, ftc.gov/subscribe, because every day, just about every day, we put out a new alert about a new scam. And this is Older Americans Month, so we're specializing in scams that victimize older Americans. Also, I commend to you our site for coronavirus scams, ftc.gov/coronavirus/scams. So that's, and if you go on ftc.gov/coronavirus, you can get the latest statistics on scams as well.
Okay, I see in the chat box that someone has a question. If you can rewrite your question in the chat or the questions box because we don't see it. But in the meantime, thank you, Robin, and to the audience for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the presentation, and we will have a poll up on the screen in a few seconds that you can answer. Also, please join us for our upcoming webinars. So you can register on the links on the slide. Robin will actually be speaking on a webinar on Older Americans Month and how older Americans can avoid scams on May 18th from 12 to 2. So you can register for that by clicking on the screen. We'll also have other webinars on personal assistance services for individuals with disabilities and emergency shelters. If you work with dams, we have a webinar on FEMA dam safety, and we have many other things coming up as well. So thank you for joining us today. If we do see other questions come in, we'll be sure to connect you with Robin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.